Hello everybody, welcome back to another Wolf on the video, and this time I'm going to be quickly looking at two of the top tier premiums for American Air. And if you had the choice, which one would you be choosing? Now, of course, I won't be talking about the F4S because I don't have it, but that's purely because I am a person that likes killing other players. I don't like taking forever about it, but we are going to be looking at the F5C and the FA-18 Hornet, both the premium aircraft that you can get for grinding the US territory, just to see which one may you benefit from more, because I do have an answer for the end of this video on what my verdict is, but I'm not going to reveal it just yet. I'm going to have a quick look at some games with both of these aircraft, and just to give some proper context on how to use them and what their strengths are and stuff. And then at the end, I'll talk about which one I would prefer. So let's get into that first. Okay, so here we are on Golden Heights, and I am playing the FA-18 Hornet for this one. Taking one of the two loadouts. Now, I'll be discussing both of these planes with two separate loadouts, by the way. I should have also said that. One for base bombing and with a little bit of air-to-air combat capabilities, and one where it's just full of player versus player, basically. Just a player versus player loadout. And here I am on the missile bus loadout for the FA-18 Hornet. And right now I am going to be trying to multipath these missiles that are coming around because I want to not get killed, obviously. We see an FA-18 that just killed himself for literally no reason. And I'm just making sure that I have these missiles either perpendicular to me or behind me so that they don't absolutely demolish me. But I'm just going to be making my way forward to the other side of the map as I see this F-14 that is flying towards in my general direction. I might be wanting to go for him. But unfortunately, he also commits suicide because apparently the ground is more attractive than winning the game. So I'm going towards the bases here because I can hopefully hit some small fighter aircraft because I am aware that there is some allies nearby and I want to be able to make sure that I can get a 2v1 on an enemy. But it doesn't seem like there's anyone right now. There's still more missile or someone tracking. Some more people tracking me nearby, so I'm going to dive into the valley here, or the little trough at the very least. There's an SU-33 on my 2 o'clock, so that's a bit worrying. I definitely don't want to go and engage with that, but this F-14 flying very low here. I decide that I'm going to go for him. Too close for missile range, so I'm just going to try and gun him down, and just like that, it goes down very, very easily. I mean, what can I say? I mean, just flying in a straight line, turns out it kills you, surprisingly enough. So I'm just going to go and fly near the bases here. I just want to, again, I'm just picking out stragglers. I don't want to be flying into a furball because this is better at taking out one person at a time. It's terrible at dogfighting because you'll just bleed your speed so very quickly. And it's also not that fast. So playing this plane, you'll notice that a lot of people are still faster than you. Even the F4S, I believe, is still slightly faster than you, which is surprising. But you do, I do prefer this because the responsiveness of this aircraft is quite appealing. But this FA-18 somehow wanting to go into heaven, and I sent him to that place very, very easily. But this MiG-29 as well, also wanting a piece of me. He's going to try and fire a missile on me, and I'm going to try and fly over him. I cut my throttle, try and bring the plane around, and this is what I'm talking about, the Hornet being very responsive. But unfortunately, I lose him temporarily. I'm trying to look for him, and then I see him off high on my 3 o'clock, and I try and turn into him, but unfortunately, it is a bit too late. He takes out my elevator, takes out my wing, and that's about it. So yeah, that's 100% a misplay for me, but as you can see, it's so long as you deliberately fly to the edge of the map and then you circle around the back, you'll be able to be getting a lot of kills, or at least 1 or 2 every game, so that's something anyway. Here we are in Denmark, and I'm now running the other loadout here, which is I should have I'll show these on screen, but this one has napalm bombs on it as well. Usually what you'd want to run is 2 AIM-9Ps, AIM-7Ps. The loadout I ran previously was 4 AIM-7s, 6 AIM-9s, and it made a total of 10 missiles. It's very, very jam-packed full of missiles there. And for this one, it's 2 AIM-7s, 2 AIM-9s, and 8 incendiary bombs. Incendiary bombs being the best to take out bases with. They do weigh you down a bit. They do cut out a lot of your responsiveness from this aircraft, but it can be worth it for late game. Carrying this first, though, I would not suggest it because you lose out on a lot of maneuverability and a lot of firepower. And I'd rather prefer it if you're going to be going against a plane that is particularly difficult to deal with, because sometimes you just don't see it. Your radar warning receiver doesn't tell you that it's there sometimes, and you might not see it. It is what it is. But I see that one of the bases ended up getting hit. The Mirage fires a missile at me. It somehow goes into the ground. I believe that was a radar one. I had to ditch my incendiary bombs here as the F1C comes in for a gun run. I pitch up really, really high, which is a very dangerous move. You don't want to be doing this in case you get shot by someone else. I do a terrible gun run right here, so I use my aim 7s to try and get a hit on him. You kind of need to use them like magic ones under a mile. Magic ones that also are aim 9Bs because they don't pull that well. I'm not sure which one you want to use, but I do get a kill on that F1C, and here's another Mirage. I used an aim 7, tried to dodge out of the way of the missile. Luckily, it is in a magic 2. And again, I'm flying high. You don't want to be doing this. You want to be hitting the deck as much as possible. I'm going to be losing a lot of speed here, and this Gripen and MiG-21 are going to be wanting to eat me alive. But unfortunately, an F-20 gets me, and that's quite unfortunate, right? It is what it is. And here we are. Here's another game with the loadout on the city map. I do see some missiles being fired in front of me. I assume it is going to be either an F-15 or an F-14, because that's usually the kind of plane that would do that. So I prep my radar. I see there's a jet right in front of me right there, and there's a JF-17, which is obviously the squadron vehicle for China. So I assume that there's at least going to be like 3 people near me, and I am right, as I have a couple of aircraft onto my 3 o'clock high. There's an Su-33 and something else as well. I didn't get a good enough look, but I try and remain low. I fly towards the base, and there's a J-10 that just somehow tries to fly in front of me, and I thought, you know what, let's have a go. I fire an aim 7 at it because there's a chance that it might hit and do something, but of course the M7 decides it wants to have a little rest because it got tired of flying, and you know, doesn't hit the plane at all. So I'm just going to be flying towards the base here and just getting rid of half my payload. I believe 3 incendiary bombs are good enough to be hitting a base with, and I use 4 because it means that I can just more easily keep track of it. I don't have a random incendiary bomb just laying around anywhere, but I'm going to be flying over this mountain here. I'm going to be trying to loop back on this J-10, but there's already 3 other teammates that are going to be engaging him. I'm going to be waiting for the right time to use this aim 9. I see this missile coming towards me as well. 2 missiles coming towards my direction, so I try and hit the deck a bit as well. I put in a bit. I'm going to go for a gun run here, and I do actually get a crit hit on him, but unfortunately, I also get missiled because I wasn't paying attention. As again, like, that was, again, a classic example of not hitting the deck. You need to be multipathing as much as possible because these radar missiles will absolutely annihilate you if you don't do it. But that's the F-18. Again, it's a very, very responsive, very, very fun aircraft to play, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily good. If you're wanting a dogfighter, I'm pretty sure the F-16 is like much, much better in that regard, and it also carries slightly better weaponry. So this is more like if you want a missile bus and if you want just pure firepower. I definitely prefer this F for the F4 because of its maneuverability. I really don't like the F4. It doesn't really feel good. Also, its radar is much worse, but that's an unfair comparison to make, considering that the F4 that I play is at 11.0 and this is 12.7. But anyway, we're going to be moving straight towards the F5C here. And I believe we are on the Vietnam map. Now, obviously, this plane is much, much different because it has 2 AIM-9Es, which aren't great, but they are there to just hit people who aren't paying attention, who are just flying a straight line, because surprisingly, you do get them quite often. But this is mostly a plane where you use as a gun runner. You basically play it as if you had machine guns and only, and you kind of do boom and zoom, except not really. You don't want a dogfight necessarily in this because it hasn't got the best airframe for dogfighting in it, but you can kind of do it. It just depends on what plane. But I'm currently flying to the center of the map here. I do see an F4C. I was going to try and fly at an angle to it in case it tried to fire at me, but I decided to recommit because this could be an easy gun kill. So I'm aiming up, and I'm firing at it, and I honestly, you have to excuse that. Honestly, terrible aiming from me. I could have easily killed him in that head-on right there, because I don't believe it. I think this version of the F4 is a really early one, so it doesn't have the inbuilt machine gun, at least the Vulcan cannon. I believe it has. It's only a part at the bottom of the aircraft. So I am trying to pull into this F4, and it's honestly outrageously bad. I can't believe I missed all of these shots here. I do even fire a missile, and I don't even know why I fired it, because I wasn't even pulling in that hard, because I was knocked out briefly. But eventually, with a lot of perseverance, I do get a severe damage just before he hits the ground. Just ignore that. Like, that was embarrassing, quite honestly. But I do want to point out that if I hit that head on, that's what should have happened. Like, I should have absolutely obliterated him, because he was zoning in on that base there. But that's what you should be doing anyway. That's the strength of this aircraft. And because I let the enemy come to me, it made it all the more easier. So here's an F1 that's going to be flying near me. I'm wanting to target that at some point. I kiss this F4S, no, this MiG-21S, and I shoot a missile at this F1, and luckily I get a nice double kill. So because they just decided to not to defend themselves, which is pretty cool. And this is what I'm talking about, right? So long as you line up your shots, you should be quite fine with this plane. It's got good enough guns where you can just demolish wings and stuff like that. Sometimes you'll have sometimes it's a bit awkward, because you will be fighting against F-111s, for example, and for that, aiming at the fuselage isn't necessarily the best play. You probably want to aim like at the root of the wing, where it goes and like disappears into the fuselage, so you can clip their wings, send them into a flat spin, and maybe kill them that way. But I know that some big planes like that do absorb shots in the fuselage. Needless to say, this isn't going to be the case, as I am being chased by a MiG-21, and I'm trying to cut into him using these mountains here, so that I can do a very, very awkward reversal. And it kind of works here. We do see the MiG-21 is going to be ascending into the sky here, and I think I have enough energy to be able to try and attempt a gun run here. The MF is like one of the worst MiG-21s here. I do get a crit hit, which is pretty good. Again, I'm just lining up the guns here. Not the best engagement, but at least I do get some damage. MiG-21 is going to be flaring preemptively in case he thinks I have a missile. Spoiler alert, I do not. And then I'm going to be re-engaging here. I'm going to be finishing off, except no, I don't, because I completely fucking miss, because I'm a retard. And then I try and use my plane as the missile. Totally went well. I definitely killed him in that game. Yep, absolutely. So I'm on Vietnam again here, and this time I'm bringing the other loadout, which involves having 2 rocket pods, two incendiary bombs, and 2 missiles. There's no reason why you shouldn't be taking the missiles at the wing pylons, the tip pylons, right? You should always take missiles at this plane. If you don't, you're just fucking stupid. But at the end of the day, I have a bit more firepower for the bases, and I don't really think this is actually suited for napalm bombing, because you're already slow as it is with just the missiles, and you're even slow with the weight on you, and it's just not really that good. So I wouldn't really suggest using this loadout. I would probably just bring 2 napalms, and that'd be about it. But here I try and merge with this SU-25. He is going to be taking the head on there. And I'm going to be trying to line up the gun run here, and I don't do it. I just, for some reason, just completely miss him. And I'm fine here, you know. I don't end up getting absolutely bum-raped by the JF-85 there, but it's all good. And here we have an example that I was talking about earlier. F-111 does end up coming in. He fires a missile at me. I preemptively throw some flares. Terrible aiming here. Could have easily gotten a hit. But just decided, no, I'm going to make this look more difficult than it needs to be. F-104 is also an okay target, but if he doesn't turn away from me, then I can get some decent damage, but he's already hit, so there's no point. I did chase this F-111 briefly, but there's, again, no point. I am heavier, and I don't have the engine power that he does, so I end up breaking off pretty early on, especially because 2 allies are already chasing him. And as you can see, half the lobby is dead. On both teams, so we both have suffered heavy losses, and there's no point really trying to engage too many aircraft, because the game is almost over anyway. But this F4 is looking particularly juicy. I am wanting to smell him. So, you know, I mean, I'm just going to say hello, or at least try to anyway, because I'm having a bit of trouble catching up to him, obviously with the massive payload that I'm carrying here, but it is kind of working. I am slowly gaining on upon him, and it seems that there's also going to be a MiG-23 that I might have to deal with as well, which is also quite scary. But I'm going to be going into this furball here. Totally a bad idea, actually. I have no idea why I did this. There's like 4 planes here. MiG-21 base has a skill issue. The J7 has a skill issue. And then I try and pull in for this MiG-23, which doesn't end up going well. Again, can't turn because I have a bigger payload here. And then I pitch up for this F4E. Again, really bad because I have a MiG-23 on my arse. But I somehow get a hit here, and I end up setting him on fire, which probably ends up him dying. And it looks like he's going to be spinning out there. The MiG-21 base still has a skill issue. Doesn't even hit me because that was the freest kill that he could have gotten. He does end up flying in front of me, but again, I don't have enough energy to try and bring the nose around and hit him. And the J7 as well, he's acting exactly like his BIS brother. I somehow fire a missile that I know if that isn't going to hit. But I guess I assumed that if he's going to do something stupid like that and somehow not kill me, he might be able to be absolutely annihilated by my missile. But now I'm in a pretty precarious situation because I've got a MiG-21 in front of me, a MiG-21 behind me, and no, this isn't a porn video, unfortunately, otherwise this will be pretty hot, but I will have an assailant on my tail here. I'm going to need to shake this off because the J7 is going to be going back towards the base here, and obviously I still have my rocket pods, and I still have my bombs that I haven't used yet. Again, there's no point. The problem is that you don't have the engine power. You are just too slow. So by the time you get to the base, everything of importance is going to be taken. But I try and anticipate when this BIS is going to be flying in front of me. I think that this is about the time to do it, so I try and pull hard to the right. Again, not the best plan. I could easily have been taken out, but he doesn't seem like the best player considering he missed me a couple of times, and he does in fact fly in front of me. I don't know what this autistic aim is. I do actually fire a missile here, which that was not bad, but if I managed to bring the nose to the BIS earlier, I might have gotten a kill there. But I quickly realized that he's also heading to his airfield, so I decided to disengage and go back to the battle, you know, where all the important stuff is. And as I'm flying towards the center, I'm seeing this MiG-15. I'm going to be trying to find any ground targets, anything. And honestly, I wasn't really expecting this, but it seems that the MiG-21 base has decided to hack my device and freeze my entire game. Not sure how he did this exactly, but that's a very powerful R60 MK, to be honest. I mean, I didn't even expect that. I don't think Gaijin even released this in the patch notes, so this might be a result of the dev server even. I don't even know because I don't pay attention to the dev server, but needless to say, that's the end of that game. I don't even end up recovering from that. That is a pretty poor play on my part, and I'm going to have to restart, which does end up with me suiciding, so that's going to be the end of that game. So having a quick look at both of these aircraft, which one would I end up picking? Well, the thing is, it's a little bit difficult if you're just wanting a top-tier premium that gives you more freedom, more fun, and you're more able to research aircraft of higher tiers should they get released. You probably want to pick the Hornet, but it does require a lot of patience and a lot of attention because, yes, playing air, you're going to be wanting to pay attention anyway. However, of course, you're going to watch out for the Fox 3s a lot of the time, and if you can't multipath very well, you're just going to get eaten alive very, very quickly. So I wouldn't, for a first choice, if you are not an experienced player, you probably don't want to go for the Hornet. To be fair, it's not even that good. I mean, I can't say much about the F4S. Apparently, it's actually one of the best Phantoms in the game, but I don't have a preference for Phantoms. Don't pick the F-20A, for God's sake. It's just, it's essentially an F5 that's got a better engine and got better weaponry, but it's still held back by its airframe and therefore much worse at that BR. You may as well go for the Hornet. Comparatively, the Hornet's much better than the F-20 and can easily just dog on it so quickly. But if you are a new player, I would honestly suggest getting an F5. It's much easier to learn. The BR is much friendlier. Even in a full up tier, you'll still find an easier time with it because all you're really doing is you're flying to the battlefield and you're treating it like if it if you had like two AIM-9Bs, like if you were in 9.3 or 9.7 or whatever with early missiles, that's how you'd play this plane, because the guns work by themselves pretty well. So long as you choose your targets and you aim well, you'll be fine with this aircraft, because it's not bad by any means. It's just average, I think. And because this is the C, it's not as good as the E, but once you do unlock the E, you actually get better stuff with this as well, because you end up unlocking the AIM-9Js, which I believe are slightly better than the E's. But when I end up making a grindstone video on this plane, you'll get a more precise idea of what you should be doing. But I do believe the loadout is basically the same otherwise. So if you're a new player, get the F5C. That's what I would ultimately suggest. But if you want to see a better fun, I suppose, and maybe a better grinder for getting crew, maybe get the Hornet. But honestly, there's really hardly any point. If you've already got the F5C, I think just stick with that, because you've got 2 Hornets in the next rank over. So you'll research them very, very easily. So that's my overall opinion about these planes. Although the Hornet is more fun to play, it's more silly. It's also perhaps not quite as good as a grinder necessarily. It's a better overall experience if you play the F5. And obviously not with this loadout. I just did it for the lols. You just need to carry 2 AIM-9Es and that'll be about it, right? And just aim your guns. There you go. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. I wanted to quickly make this because I had both premiums and I was just more really curious about the Hornet, considering that it's a new-ish plane. New-ish being it's been out for a few months and now it's finally been discounted, and that's why I got it. But regardless, I enjoyed playing both of them. They both have their unique capabilities. I guess it's kind of unfair to compare both of them because the Hornet is a full 2 BRs. Wait, no, yeah, 2 BRs higher. I am in realistic than the F5, but I'm comparing them to just how you would play them. How effective are they as a grinder, an air fighter, or whatever, at their own respective BR, not directly against each other, because that's retarded. But so, yeah, that's really all I have for you today. If you want me to also look at some other vehicles, let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching, and have a good day. Cheers.